I was in a luxury hotel in New York in 2021. The place had immense hallways, thick carpet that muffled any sound, and a cleaning smell that seemed to be trying to hide something. I was in my room. It was already quite late, and I was so tired I fell asleep right away. In the middle of the night, I woke up, but not with a start. It was a noise, laughter, and the sound of feet running on the carpet. I thought, oh no, a noisy family. But I realized it was too late for that. So I got up and went to the door, curious yet apprehensive. My heart was beating a little faster in my chest as I peered through the peephole. There she was, a girl maybe 5 years old, with dark hair, wearing a white dress, running back and forth in the hallway. I could hear the high-pitched, almost metallic sound of her laughter. But what truly scared me was seeing that she was completely alone. There was no adults with her, no other children, just her, running and laughing at nothing in that immense empty hallway lit only by the dim emergency light. I waited for a while. I hoped she would go to her room, that someone would come to get her. But she didn't stop. She just kept going back and forth. And the laughter, it started to sound different. It wasn't joyful laughter. It sounded forced, almost hysterical, as if she were laughing because she was scared. Suddenly, while I was thinking of a million things at once, she stopped, right in front of my door. She looked directly at the peephole. She couldn't have known I was there, as I was careful not to make a sound, but it was as if she knew. And then, she smiled. A smile I will never forget. She didn't show her teeth. It wasn't a happy child smile. It was a wide, empty smile that stretched from ear to ear, and her eyes were dark and lifeless. I took a step back, my entire body getting goosebumps. The sound of my own gasp seemed deafening. I didn't sleep again that night. I stayed in bed, staring at the door, wondering if it was real, if I should talk to someone, if I was dreaming. At dawn, I went down to check out. I couldn't take it anymore. I asked the receptionist about the girl, describing what I had seen. He told me that no children were registered on that floor, and that no family had checked in overnight. That smile of hers still haunts me. This happened in 2022 while I was working in an old hotel in Sao Paulo. There was a small room, number 23, in the back of the hotel that had no windows besides a small opening in the bathroom. It was considered haunted, creepy, with an energy that felt like a ton of weight. No one had stayed there for a long time. But one night, a new employee, a woman around 50 with a serious expression, introduced herself to me as the housekeeping manager and told me that a guest had checked in to room 23 and that I needed to clean it. I found that strange, but it was my job, so I went to do what she had asked. I grabbed the cart, the keys, and went to the hallway where the light was dimmer and the silence was heavier. It felt like I was moving away from the real world, as if I were entering another dimension. I hesitated for a moment, but I shook my head, convinced myself I was thinking nonsense, and unlocked the door. The smell. It was a smell of earth, of wet wood, mixed with something sweet and putrid. As I entered, I turned on the weak yellowish light the room had, and I saw a man sitting on the edge of the bed. My whole body went cold. He was dressed in a dark suit with a crumpled white collar and a hat that covered part of his face. He was completely motionless, looking at the floor, his head moving minimally from side to side, his old and pale hands resting on his knees. With my heart in my mouth, I asked, "Sir, do you need anything?" He didn't answer. He didn't even turn his head. It was as if he were in a trance. I thought about asking again, but it scared me so much that I couldn't. I left the room, trembling, closed the door, and had that feeling that he was coming after me, but I didn't have the courage to look back. I quickened my pace and went to talk to the general manager. I explained the situation, and when we returned, the room door was unlocked and the man was not there. The bed sheets were perfectly arranged, as if no one had ever sat there. But I noticed something strange. On the nightstand, there was a black and white photo, yellowed with age. It was a couple embracing, the woman in a dark vintage dress, and the man, guess what, in a suit and with a hat. I no longer had words to say anything. The manager couldn't explain it. There was no guest record for that room, and he didn't know why the housekeeping manager had ordered it cleaned. We left everything as it was, closed the door, and the key was put away. I was on vacation with some friends in Los Angeles in 2023. It was the third night there, and it was already dawn when we were coming back from a party. I was staying in a different hotel than my friends. Mine was one of those old ones, maybe from the 50s, with a dark decoration and huge paintings. I was going to my room, which was on the 4th floor. The hallway was long and completely empty. Until, at the end of the hallway, there were 3 people, 2 women and a man. The women were in the hallway, and the man was closing the door. They seemed young, dressed in black. I thought it was just a group of friends leaving. But as I got closer, I noticed something strange. They weren't talking and were completely motionless, standing next to each other, with their arms hanging rigidly at their sides, looking in my direction. Not a casual look. It was a fixed stare, as if they were judging me. It seemed they were angry with me. What seemed like a normal scene quickly became a terrifying one. The increasingly unsettling silence made the sound of my own footsteps on the carpet seem deafening. I quickened my pace, trying to act normal, but my heart was pounding. I had to get to the end of the hallway, where they were, and turn left to then get to my room. It felt like hours of walking. I passed them, trying to avoid eye contact, but by politeness, I quickly and quietly said, "Good evening." I felt their gaze on me, a cold, almost physical weight. I reached my door to my room, unlocked it, and entered as fast as I could, locking the door behind me. I threw myself on the bed, trying to catch my breath. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination, fatigue, or the little bit of alcohol I had drunk. The next day, I was checking out as we were going to another city. Before leaving, I asked the receptionist about the group of people in the hallway on my floor. I described their clothes, the way they were standing, and the time we met. He looked at me with a blank expression. He said, "No one is staying on the floor you were on, sir, and that's one of our emptiest floors lately." I thought it was a misunderstanding, or that they had already left, and I preferred not to press the issue. But when I was in the parking lot, loading my bags into the car, I saw them again. The same 3 people, standing near the hotel exit, looking at me. They were wearing the same clothes, in the same positions, with the same expressions on their faces. The only thing I could do was throw the bags in the car and get out of there as fast as I could. My hand was shaking on the steering wheel. I looked back in the rearview mirror a couple of times, and they were still there. That look of theirs, the way they appeared and disappeared. To this day, I wonder who they were and what they wanted from me, or why they wanted me away from there.